You're listening to The Snipers Club. I'm your host, The Sniper, and this podcast will be covering cricket. So we're gonna cover two different things in this podcast. First of all, guys, we're gonna have a look at plus EV betting and why it's important to make sure that you're getting value as early as possible. And then we'll be moving on to the Australia-Pakistan Test Series, which the Night Watchman will cover for you, complete with tips and picks and all the shebang. So at the moment, it's really hard to beat the bookies unless you're getting early value. So we're recording this on a Thursday. The match starts on Christmas Day, and as you get closer to the match actually starting, the odds will contract pretty much across the board. In our boxing pod, which we put up, I think on Sunday or Monday, the odds have already massively come in on a few of our selections. So try and get on as fast as you can. Try and catch the bookies with their pants down, because literally that's the only way that you can beat them over time. If you spot a pricing error, take advantage. A plus EV bet doesn't necessarily have to be a winning bet. It's just one where you've identified a pricing error and where you beat the closing line. So keep an eye on that, guys. Also, keep things as simple as you can. Have a process that you follow. Don't break that process. If you're backing horses, for example, look at who's boosting which horses. Why are they boosting those horses? Watch all the replays of all the horses involved in the race. Look at the ground, look at the variables, look at the jockey, look at how seasonality affects things. Certain horses, for example, tend to win at certain times of year, because that's when they start to come to hand. If you're doing greyhounds as well, watch all the form for that, and just make sure that you're not giving the bookies the edge that they crave so much. With NRL, it's a lot easier. The lines tend to come out Monday, maybe Tuesday morning as team news drops. So we can often grab really good value on a Tuesday. But by the time it gets to match day, Saturday, whereas you may have had Kalen Ponga to score a try at $4, he might be $2.50 by Saturday. So it's always worth grabbing early value as and when you can. Stick to your processes, be confident. Don't just put bets up for the sake of it, and make sure that you really manage yourself and your discipline very tightly, and that will help you create and maintain and build a winning bankroll over time. So that's just my 2 pence worth before we start. I'm going to hand over to the Night Watchman, and he's going to look after you for the cricket. How's it going, Night Watchman?
Oh, very good, Sniper. How are you today?
Good, thanks. Good. Looking forward to hearing this.
Excellent, absolutely. So am I. Looking forward to telling you all about it. Well, we've got the second test of the Australia versus Pakistan series coming up. Had some middle range luck on the first one. Like, just to give you a quick recap of what happened, Australia gave Pakistan a spanking, as I thought they would. Fell at first innings century, which we backed. That was initially at $1.72. That came in. David Warner, who's also big for the man of the series off that first match. Expecting a bit more from him in the second and third to get that man of the series that I was suggesting. We've also 1-0 on our way to our 3-0. So we're all looking good on that one. Babar Azam, it was a good line at 23.5, but he just fell short at 21. Just a agonising couple of runs short. And not only that, but the session it finished, they were expecting it to finish by latest at the second session on day 4. Lasted half an hour into the final session. So close but no cigar, but we're all good on this one.
So it sounds like those bets were actually plus EV on that day. So are you looking at Babar Azam again? Have you looked at his line?
No, Babar Azam, despite the fact that he came in with a 22 and a 14 in the first test, has had his line raised to 30. So I'm not going to be looking at Babar Azam again. Not only that, but I think that it was pretty obvious in the second innings of the last test that Australia have found Pakistan's mood, and I think Australia are going to absolutely smash them this time. So first line I've got for you on that note is we've got an innings win for Australia. So they're only batting once while Pakistan doing twice. They didn't quite manage to get their combined total didn't match the first innings total on this one. There's no reason to think they'll happen again. They're at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, which is a huge, massive place, especially for the Australian times during the Christmas and Boxing Day time. So that one coming in, an innings win, we've got at $4.33 with Bet365, and I think that's some great value. Pakistan are in for a pasting, and it's pretty obvious they're out of their depth on this one.
Can you just repeat the bet a little bit more slowly, because We'll just give our listeners a little time to think. That was quite quick, mate.
Okay, so we've got, it's actually any team to offer an inning, to get an innings win, although I think Pakistan would be unlikely to do that, which comes in at $4.33. I mean, if you're in Australia, shop around. If you can get Australia alone to get an innings win, you might get slightly better odds on that one, so it's well worth a look. But Australia to win by an innings, or either team to win by an innings, is $4.33 with Bet365. But as I said, have a little shop around. You might be able to find some better value, especially if you can find it only for Australia. We haven't quite managed to find it here at the Snipers Club, despite some good old scouring. But we know you bookies over in Australia have a little bit more balls when it comes to picking your odds. So
yeah, and we've had really limited markets here, guys. You'll have much better coverage for those odds in Australia and New Zealand than we do here. So they're taking no chances, especially over the Christmas period. What else have you got for us, Night Watchman?
Okay, well, we're going to go back to an old favourite from the first. It came in the first test, and I have no reason to think that it won't come in the second, and that's a first innings century to be scored by either team. That's at Bet365 at $1.72. That's the same odds as last time. But when you look at the teams, you see anyone in the top six in that Australian team is capable of racking off a century. And as the team they are, one of them will. And even on top of that, with the value you've got it, you've also got a chance Wong have a go hero. Someone may be carrying his bat for the Pakistani side and maybe giving it a go while the whole world collapses around him. So I think that's very, very good odds yet again on a century to be scored in the first innings at $1.72 at Bet365.
Okay.
Now, if you would like to double that one up with something, we've got for the first ball to be a dot ball. Now, we've got that at $1.28 on also with Bet365. Now, it's $1 and $1.25 elsewhere, so that might be one of the plus EV bets that you're looking at. Now, once again, we found it very difficult to find the markets on this one, so if you're in Australia, you've probably got a little bit more option. And the logic behind this, when you're looking at the last test, you saw that David Warner, after his fantastic first innings, decided to go for a duck on his second innings, which was a little bit disappointing, I have to say. But he's going to want to be careful going into bat, so he's going to want to get a measure of the line. And that could be said for both the Pakistani openers. They're going to be wanting to do the same thing there as well. They're going to be wanting to be very careful, build slowly, and try and slow Oz down, though I personally don't think they will. And then the other potential starter for the first ball is going to be Usman Khawaja. Now, he's had his time in his career where he's been a little bit inconsistent, a little bit slow, but as he's grown and he's matured in his later career, he's become a fine batsman. But he knows from experience that he needs to be patient and he needs to wait for to see how the line's going and how what the ball's doing. So that coming in at $1.28, I think, is very, very good value. I'm not suggesting that as a single, but if you want to double that up with the first innings century, you'll find that as $2.22 on Bet365. But like I said, do shop around to see what will happen.
Guys, just to clear that up, so the dot ball scenario that we found is as short as $1.12 in certain places. So 1.27, 1.28 sounds fair enough if you can actually double it up. Bet365 wouldn't let us create a multi or bet builder for that option, but some of your Aussie bookmakers may allow you to do that. So I think that's what the Night Watchman's getting at for that specific market. So either the single or the double, if it's available, are both good shouts. What else have you got for us, Night Watchman?
That's all I've got for you today, I'm afraid. It's just a short time between the tests has given me a little bit less time to research, but that's the best value I've generally found. Just to let you know, like I said, if you're in Australia, do shop around. And just to be clear, we are once again level staking these again at 1.
Okay, did you have a look at when will the test series finish and what were your thoughts? Why did you swerve that market?
Why did I swerve that market? Because it really, really does depend, because it's Boxing Day, they might want to put on a bit of a show for you. So they might, depending on whether if Australia are batting and bowling, they might want to stay in for a while. If they're batting and whack off some 4s and 6s, build a good score to keep the home fans entertained. So that might make the game go on a little bit longer. However, if they find themselves bowling on Boxing Day when all you guys are watching it at home, then they're going to want to take wickets. They're going to want to get into them. So to suggest it could finish anywhere between day 3 and 4, I'm fancying the innings win, but they might, depending on which way the toss goes, which I never like to bet on because who wants to bet on a coin toss really? You never really know. But depending on where Australia are on the second day, you might want to take a look at when it will finish. But you can bet that on Boxing Day, Australia are going to want to put on a show. They usually like to, especially if it's the Ashes.
Okay. All right, fair enough. And is there anyone that you've got your eye on for the Pakistanis?
As far as the Pakistanis are concerned, no, not really. The only thing I'm watching is the Australians to give them an absolute smashing. Like, it's going to be brutal, I think. The state of that second innings. I mean, getting bowled out for 89, that is not a good show, and that pretty much shows the state of Pakistani cricket on the whole, really. You might want to start looking at a few of the markets, like people like Shan Masood and Abdullah Shafiq, scoring below the line if you can find. I think you can find a good line anyway.
Okay. Good stuff. Thank you very much, Night Watchman. Have a very, very Merry Christmas. When's the next test after this? Because there are 3, aren't there?
There are indeed. Bear with me. I'll just have a little double check.
So whilst he's checking, I'll just let you know that we're now available on YouTube. So you can find us. You can find the audio pod on YouTube. We're also on iTunes, Apple Music, obviously on Spotify, and it would really help us if you could possibly give us a follow on those channels if you enjoy the content. That would really help our stats, help us grow, and essentially that'll be better for absolutely everyone. So I've been your host, The Sniper. The Night Watchman's going to tell us when the next fixture is.
It starts on Tuesday the 2nd of January for the third and final test series, where I'm expecting David Warner to pick up his Man of the Series award and Australia to get that 3-0 clean sweep I was talking about.
Nice. That's also my birthday, so you can sing me a happy birthday on the 2nd.
Many happy returns, Mr. Sniper.
Well, we'll package that up for next time.
Yep.
You've been listening to the Snipers Club. Please like, share, and help our channel grow.